My name is Imam Khalid Griggs. I'm the Imam of a local mosque in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, in the United States. And I'm also the Executive Director of ICNA Council for Social Justice, the Islamic Circle of North America, Council for Social Justice. And I want to take time today to share some of the inspiration and the reason why I, over the years as a Muslim since 1972, have been so impacted and attached to the works of Maulana Abu Maududi. I actually, before even becoming Muslim, I went to a mosque, Masjid al in Washington, D.C., and purchased a Quran, an English translation of the Quran. And I was given the book Towards Understanding by Maulana Maududi. And at that particular time, there was a perfect conjunction with where I was as a social activist, as a Pan-Africanist, as a Black nationalist, even. There was a perfect conjunction with what I found in this book and my need and necessity to elevate myself spiritually as well as expand my worldview. And when I read in Towards Understanding Islam that all human beings were created as Khalifa are, that we were created to be representatives of Allah on earth, and our striving for his cause and submission to the Creator actually determined our standard, who we were in society, how we could be evaluated, and not our wealth or our knowledge or profession and these kinds of things. So, having been a student, I was in my senior year of university at that time when I first read this Towards Understanding Islam. I, after 2 months, after reading the book and reading chapters, just actually, to tell the truth, maybe only a chapter and a half. I read Al Fatiha and half of Surah Baqarah, and Allah put it in my heart that this was the truth, that this is what I had been looking for. The Maulana Maldudi's had a kind of clarity of expression that even though I'm reading it in the English translation, but the clarity of his expression was next to none. I was a double major in school, so I had one of my majors was English, the other political science. So I read a lot of literature over the years because of school, but also because of interest. But the clarity of the works, the books, the articles, the booklets that I read from Maulana Maududi were such that it spoke to my heart. It spoke to what little intellect that I had at that particular time. And so, uh, what when Maulana Maududi expressed in one of the works, I can't remember what it was, but when he expressed that he was a convert to Islam, and he went on to say that his conversion was a result of very deep study of the faith and under trying to get the best understanding of what Islam requires of the individual and human beings. I was very struck by that admission on his part and even the way that he analyzed his path in Islam. And he acknowledged rather, that Islam was not a birthright. It was something that if we truly understand Islam, we have to understand that this way of life is something that we have to put energy and effort into. We can be Muslim by name and Muslim by our family, but the essence of Islam is that of struggle, struggling to understand this thing to the best of our ability, struggling to call the society to submission to Allah. And through all of the works that I have read of Maulana Maududi, there was a constant theme, a central theme that was thread through all of his works. And that central theme, to me, one of the central themes, was that you need organization. that you can't achieve the true essence of Islam and fulfill our duties as Khalifa fil ard on this earth unless we are part of an organized effort. And so I was very fortunate with after and when I embraced Islam to do it at the headquarters of a group called the Islamic Party in North America. This was a group whose Amir, the founder of the organization, had actually spent time in the house of Maulana Maududi, and he spent time in Pakistan in the headquarters of Jamaat-e-Islami Pakistan. And so, based on his experience and primarily with his interaction with Maulana Maududi, his understanding of Islam was also impacted in a very similar way that I was impacted. He was already a Muslim for a number of years when he actually met Maulana Maududi, and when he came back to the United States, he realized that just being a part of a masjid in an environment that demanded Islam so much, needed Islam, whether they individually demanded it or not, the need was so great that he would be a part of organizing an attempt to bring Islam to the society, to first change and purify himself, and bring Islam as a change agent in the United States. And so I have been blessed my entire Muslim life of having been impacted by Maulana Maududi and his works. The organization that Islamic Party in North America actually used the Constitution of Jamaat Islami as one of the guides for us when we wrote out the Constitution for the organization. In the journal that we published, primary journal, Al Islam, the Islamic Movement Journal, we serialized War in Islam, Maulana Maududi's monumental work, and of course it was translated into English, and other articles or small booklets. We use those in the Islamic Party. So I would have to say that that early exposure to the writings and to the works of Maulana Maududi completely shaped my entire life moving forward as a Muslim. Uh, Maulana Maududi impressed me on so many different levels, but one of those levels of impression for me was the way he addressed current culture in Western civilization. There was probably not a topic that I had any concern and interest about. As I say, coming from a social activist background, and there was no topic that Maulana Maududi did not discuss that was meaningful and helpful for us as dais in this landscape in the United States. There was nothing left untouched, whether it was socialism, whether it was liberalism, communism, whether it was uh, the false worship that uh, that pretends and imitates religion, oftentimes in the practice of people here in the United States. Uh, when Maulana Maududi, in his last, uh, when he was very ill in the late 1970s, he came to uh, Columbia University. He was in the United States for medical treatment. I think this may have been 1979. At that particular time, members of the Islamic Party did security for Maulana Maududi when he was at Columbia University, giving the presentation, the lecture that he was giving. And I can't say, I wish that I had more interaction with him, but it was just a very brief Salam Alaikum kind of encounter. I didn't have the opportunity to interact with him on a personal level, my interaction has been primarily as consider myself a student of Maulana Maududi. I consider myself having been fortunate to have my entry into Islam, as I was guided to Islam, to be shaped by the works of Maulana Maududi, to be influenced in my future work as a Muslim in America, to be influenced by the stress, the emphasis that the Maulana placed on Islamic movement and Islamic organization. It has impacted me to the degree that I can't see myself being outside of organized work and not just doing masjid work. And I think that I know that perhaps the reason why I've been associated and a member, a Shura member, been the editor of Islamic Circle of North America's magazine for a number of years. And whatever I have experienced with the works of Maulana Maududi and meeting people from Jamaat Islami and asking questions and interacting, I find that this has shaped even my present position with Islamic Circle in North America because it's an extension, almost a Western extension, an attempt to model a relevant model of the work of Maulana in the United States. One thing that I just want to say as a kind of side note, as an anecdote, that Maulana Maududi I got from all of his writings and talking to those who were around him. I had the opportunity to spend a number of hours as a guest at the home of Maulana Maududi's one of his sons, who was living I think it was either Buffalo or Syracuse, New York. And this was early in my years as a Muslim. And I asked Dr. Farouk, I think was his name. I asked him, who was a psychiatrist, I asked him to tell me some more about your father. I wanted personal information about Maulana Maududi, somebody who was really close to him, who could tell me something that I couldn't read in a book. And I was very surprised by the response because his son told me, "You probably know more about my father than I do." And I found it as an odd response. But then I realized, and he said it, that was because he was either in his office writing, he was either being jailed and in jail because of his Islamic work, or he was busy uh, with the organization, doing organizational things. But, and I'll close on this particular note, and that is that the many years that I have spent writing, I've always tried to model the simplicity and clarity of expressing various aspects of Islam. I've kept it in my mind that keep it simple, put it where in a way that it's not only can inspire someone, but it's easy to understand. Maulana Maududi impressed upon me with his works and talking to his son and others who were in Jamaat Islamic, impressed upon me that as a writer, that you should not look towards your writing, your writing ability as a way to make a living. That your writing is to encourage, inspire, to educate others to want to do this work, to do this Islamic, the work of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to be involved in Islamic movement. So I will close on that particular note. I'm very happy to share a few ideas of your brother on the other side of the Atlantic. Assalamu alaikum, rahmatullah wa barakatuh.